Hey, what's up? He's one of my first ones on. Hey, what's up? Looking for the right emoji for this. For some reason, I can't find it. I'm gonna give him a unicorn. There you go, unicorn. Welcome, everybody. We're going to do this layout on both sides so that we know when we go through this mortise that we're coming out on the exact same lines. We're doing it all with a chisel. I want to welcome all TikTok refugees. Sorry to hear about TikTok going down. Maybe you're not there, maybe you're there. I have a feeling that y'all will be there, so. I don't love that line. Y'all hear my stomach growl? A lot of glue bubbles on this side. To work on those. Still early in Dad's workshop, so my regulars usually come in a little bit. Feel free to drop a comment, join the Discord, drop some comments on there. Let us know what you're thinking. What are you working on? What's your project? All those kinds of things. And I got my layout almost done there. I don't need that recess on this side. I just want to make sure that I know that when I come through here, that it's in the same placement on the other side of this corner post. As you can see there, maybe y'all can see it from the camera. This is where that board's going to go through, just like you see those vertical beams sticking out. This is one of those. Welcome to Dad's workshop. While I'm waiting for folks to show up, I think I'm going to sharpen some tools for a little bit. Hey, Gary, what's up, man? It's coming around. I'm getting better. I still feel like less than 100%, but I am here. I'm going to do this live stream, and I'm just going to push through it, and I'm much better than I was. So I was real bad on Tuesday and definitely on Wednesday when I didn't come in. I was not able to do. I wouldn't have been able to hack it out here. But appreciate you asking, man. Shout out to Gary, friend of the show, Gary Morton from the UK. See which chisels I'm going to use. Most likely this one. Probably that one too. That one may already be sharp. Yeah, no, I still don't sound 100, like great, but yeah, I was in bad shape. I don't know, whatever got me was really bad. Olive oil. Get something to strop this with. Yeah, I'm gonna do this one first though. This one's not too bad, but I think a little bit of sharpening probably won't hurt. Obviously, the smaller chisels are easier to sharpen. The bigger ones, you got to be much more careful with the how you're holding that angle with the edge. I'll set my mic up here since my stomach is growling. And that looks pretty sharp. Oh, that's cool. You got one of those pallet busters to break down your pallets, or are you doing it by hand with a like a pry bar? Let me get the microphone. So with your pallets, are you going to break those down? I have this thing called a pallet buster that breaks those pallets down a little bit easier, even though the nails in them have like little brads off of them that cause the wood to break around it. So like when you build stuff out of pallet wood, you have to just assume there's going to be holes in it all by hand. Yeah. It's a pain to get all those nails out. You know how those are like super cheap nails and they got these little like I don't know, like I don't know what to call them, like brads or like burrs on them to hold. I'm sure they're installed mechanically with a nail gun, but uh, how are you dealing with that? I'm not super happy with that. Yeah. So when you got your hammer, you know how to twist that hammer, right? Twist the peen side of the hammer and then pull again, and you should still be able to remove the nail without the nail head on there. I'm sure you probably, I'm telling you something you already know, but if that nail head pops off because those little brads are in there, twist the ball peen, like get the peen around the nail, right? Then twist that thing until you feel it bite, and then bend down. Bend down. Don't pull out. Bend down. This is something I learned with the pallets. That really helps me. Uh, when the nails break off and the heads break off, and they do all the time because they're in there so tight. Uh, you got to turn that peen on the nail. That's my experience from my 2 cents. Yeah. So try it. Next time you're working on it, if you're working on it tonight, when that nail head breaks off, and I wish I had one to demonstrate it on. I might do one that like I'll nail it in, then show you. I don't know how I would simulate the nail head breaking off. That actually happened when I was just doing that rotten floor a couple weeks ago. There were some really rotten nails in there, and so and the heads popped right off. So I had to turn the hammer. It is possible because those nails have those little things sticking out the side. They bite if you turn that the fork peen side of the hammer on them. Um, and once I started doing that, I didn't get as many headaches with the nails breaking, nail heads breaking off. It's just kind of a way to get leverage on them because you could hurt yourself trying to pull those things out. If you try to pull them straight out, but if you turn the peen, it's biting, you just pull down and you'll feel it start to loosen out. Then push forward if you have to, and then pull back again. But don't pull straight out. Don't try to pull the nail out against those things. It never works. I guess that's sharp. I'm not super happy with that, to be honest with you. I've been using these tools so much, they probably need a sharpening. Oh yeah, like a razor blade. That's the way I want it. You know. These mortise chisels are a little tricky to sharpen. I've never been able to get these blades exactly straight. Seems to be good enough for government work there. 3 down. Heather, is that a question for me? Oh, so I'm going to say easily a timber frame house because you need help for that unless you build a capistan, which is a medieval slash dark ages bronze age tool that they use to lift things like anchors. So a ship has a capistan. It's basically a sideways wheel with pegs in it, and as you pull the wheel up, it's kind of a pulley system. You stick pins down in it. Yep, yep, Juanita, unexcused tardy, unexcused tardy. Welcome, Juanita, friend of the show. Everything always goes better once Juanita's in the house. So I'm going to say a timber frame house. And some of the ones in my timber frame book, I've just looked at over and over again. They're so beautiful. They're made out of wood like this, cheap. I mean, I don't want to say cheap, but like just soft woods and stuff. You can build a house that will last 1,000 years with medium quality wood if you just do the joinery right. And, you know, build it with love. That's the idea. Build everything with love. Just like when you cook. You know, when you cook, you want to cook with love. Like the Krabby Patty, the secret ingredient. Yeah, and so that's exactly right, Gary. So the Japanese have proven that if a building is properly timber framed with good joinery, it can survive earthquakes, tsunamis, rain, winds, storms, all kinds of things. And there are buildings in Japan that are timber framed that are absolutely you're absolutely right, Gary. That's some of the best examples of 1,000-year-old timber frame buildings that have survived every type of element you can throw at it, including war, like bombing, things like that. Like we bombed the mess out of Japan, and those buildings still survive. So, yeah, that's a really good example, Gary. So castles are timber framed. Castles are built out of masonry, and then there are little gaps. And I was always a huge here. I'm gonna nerd out on some castles right now. Hey, Stefan, new person. Hey, shout out to Stefan. Castles are built with masonry, usually between 8 and 10 foot thick stone. And then on the inside of the castles, the stones are cut by the masons to leave little notches. And those little notches are what holds the timber frame because the people didn't live with stone walls inside the castle. Rich people had wood paneled walls. So all of the walls would have been, all of the structure on the inside of the castle would have been timber framed and still is in all of the standing castles, including my ancestral castle, which is in Scotland and it's still standing. It's called Niddry Castle. Niddry Castle has a new building, timber frame building. It had to be timber frame because they are very picky about that in Scotland. Um, Niddry Castle has like a new livable house. There are people living in it, and my family last lived in that in the 1400s. So it's been standing since Lord George Seaton built it. It's in if you know any Gary, if you know anything about Scottish geography, we're talking about Lothian, so outside of Edinburgh, um, East Lothian. There's a castle called Niddry, and this is the ancestral castle of my family. Now it's like a golf course or something. Um, and one of the I built a model of this castle before one time. And what puzzled me was how did the wood structure go on the inside? So I did some research and found that the masons were cutting. Yeah, I've been told that the masons were cutting the stones to leave little notches, and the masons were amazing then too. They leave these little notches, and then the sill plates for the timber frame would sit on those notches. And if they didn't build the stairs and so forth out of stone, the stairs and everything that was timber frame would be built against those sill beams, which would be held up by the masonry structure. Yeah. Yeah, I love Scotland. Scotland was beautiful. Last time I was there, over 20 years ago. So, yeah, I had a Scottish friend that I met a couple of years ago. When I told him where the family was from, he was like, "Yeah, that's a beautiful, and it is a beautiful area. It's the lowlands, and it's kind of like rolling hills for anybody who doesn't know. I know Gary and Stefan seem to kind of know. So, Yeah, I wish I could own that. I mean, I'm a little old now to worry about owning that castle. You know, you got to be a wealthy person there. But definitely, uh, that's how England and Scotland was in the 15 and 1600s, and up until recently, no one owned land in England. So that was the reason, you know, like my ancestors and stuff. Besides the politics, um, my family was loyal to the Catholic monarchs, so they were basically booted out of Scotland during the reign of Elizabeth, uh, and you know they like a lot of people fled to um, Ulster or whatever, and so that was yeah. I built a little timber frame house once too. Little miniatures are really popular. AI told me I should do one of those on here, right, Miss Heather? I'm starting to think I should run a Friday live regularly. Can y'all hear me with the microphone on the table? Yeah, Heather likes dollhouses too. They're tricky. I got fat fingers. Now I'm like reblading this tool because Richard Grieco is on my live. What's up, Richard Grieco? Welcome, Richard Booker Grieco, to my live. We are building bunk beds, but right now I'm sharpening my tools because we do everything slow and steady here. I don't love that blade right now. I might need to get some new paper for these sharpening blade blocks. I'm starting to have to use the sides of them because there's no roughness left on the front and back. It's all been worn away by the blades I've sharpened on them. Richard, what brings you about? Did you come on here from TikTok? Or are you just new to the live stream? See, I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to always respond to the people until I can't anymore. There will probably come a time where I won't be able to do that anymore. Hey, what's up? Vitaly is here. Friend of the show, Vitaly. It looks like we almost have everybody in the house. Like, now all we need is Santorian, Haint. I'm just taking attendance. You know, I was a teacher, so I'm taking attendance right now. 17 years of being a teacher, it doesn't go away easily. Vitaly gets an excused tardy, excused tardy for Vitaly, unexcused tardy for everyone else. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. I taught music. I taught piano, and then I taught music, chorus. That's what I went to school for. Cool. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you being here. Make sure you click that subscribe button so we can keep the convo going, man, and have you in here on the reg. And, join the Discord. I'm glad you're here too, Vitaly. It's good. I got one. I'm gonna call it a bent, like one vertical set of structural members for the bed. I'll back it up in a second and show it to you. Um, so you, I'm glad you're here too, Richard. Um, so you can see what I've done. And right now I'm about to cut out this mortise for the third vertical post, but I want to make sure my chisels are real sharp. And right now I'm struggling. You know, I got that ADHD, so it's really hard for me to. It's not great here. These framing chisels are definitely harder to sharpen too. Let me turn this off to the side here. See, Richard, we got a little mini community here growing. I feel guilty when I miss my lives like I did on Wednesday because I wasn't feeling well. So this is a makeup live. But I might even do these. I might just go ahead and go Monday through Friday, man. And then y'all make it. That's great. If you can't, I understand. You know, definitely going in my attendance book though. But you know, I'll like you only a little bit less if you don't show up. Need to find a place where I haven't shaved my hair off yet here. I mean, it's taking hairs off, but I'm not convinced. I'm not sold on it yet. Probably will work. All right, so I got 4 fairly sharpened chisels. I might not use this framing chisel as much today anyway. I wouldn't say fully recovered, but I'm getting there. I'm good enough to do this live today and go as long as I need to go, you know, to get some stuff done. Go grab a clamp. If I back my camera up a little bit, you'll be able to see the vertical and horizontal member that I refer to as the bent right there that we've been working on in the live. So you see it right there. The pins are through too. I might have to do the zoom thing here. The pins are going to be adjusted a little bit, but what I've been trying to show you all is you can see there's a recess cut in there. There's a hole. That hole extends into where the housing is on the tenon side. That's the part sticking through. Now this wedge goes in and it presses. It's expensive. Those are cherry pins. Yeah, cherry pins, but good guess. And there's one on the other side too. So they're putting a lot of inward pressure on the beams. Brian, welcome. Appreciate your input. Thanks, Juanita. I appreciate that. Zenwo diamond plates. I never heard of those. Zenwu. Oh yeah. Well, when you cut the tree down, try to take some of the dirt out around the base of it. See if there's like any burrows in there and just cut as close to the ground as you can. Cherry's going to be knotty and bendy, and you're going to want to get as much straight section as you can. Somebody asked me a question about wood. That would be Gary. 2 fence posts, 150 by 150. I'm sure that's centimeters. 3,000 millimeters. That's so 3 meters tall. That's awful. Okay, no, that's. I mean, all wood is expensive. I imagine this is treated. They've got different rules in England for treated lumber than they do here. Every country has. I'm sure they're actually more strict. So these are like going to go in the ground, and it is 2 fence posts, 150 centimeters by 150. 150 by 150. Is that millimeters? Oh, 150 by 150 by 3. So 15 centimeters. That's a nice thick post. 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 3 meters tall. That's a very tall. That's like a. You said something about you wanted privacy. Those are 9 foot tall posts. So yeah, no, I think that's a reasonable amount. I mean, it's a little expensive, but wood is expensive. Yeah. Micro bevel. So, what was the question about the micro bevel? Could you repeat it? Yeah, like there's a micro. I don't know everything about it, but a lot of these chisels have like a micro bevel on the bottom side, and that's kind of why you see me flat my my chisel against the sharpening stone, and when I'm or the sharpening block, and before I finish, I do the bottom side just slightly to make sure the micro bevel on the bottom is sharp too. Good questions, man. Y'all make me think a lot. I shouldn't have assumed when I quit teaching I was gonna not have to think anymore. Do I bring a micro bevel on? I don't. I'm not sure I understand the question. Like most of my beveled chisels or beveled edge chisels have micro beveled bottom sides, but I'm not an expert on that. I would have to do a little bit of reading on that probably. And how I sharpen it is just flatten it against like make sure that it's plumb against the thing or flat against the sharpening block and just pull just a little, like a couple strokes and then wipe it off. I don't try to sharpen the bottom a lot, but there is like on the bottom, if I could zoom in, on the bottom side, there's usually a tiny micro bevel. I'm not happy with how I just sharpened these chisels, but it's okay. Some days good, some days bad, just like my woodwork. I'll have to go to the hardware store and get some more grit paper, probably like some 1500, some new 800, some 1500. So I have somewhere between that because I'm really not, I'm not good with that. That's not very good. This one's probably a little bit better. Yeah, for sure. That one's cutting right in. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like this wood that I'm working on now is also from Europe, but it's from Northern Europe. So this was taken. This is from Finland, Sweden, Norway. That's the source of this wood. They have a lot of. This is probably boreal forest wood, to be honest. It's old growth. I can tell by looking at it. You know, a lot of the untouched boreal forest they have up there, and now they're starting to go after it. So uh, I like a mixture of hand tools and electric power tools. If you have a good, healthy mixture, then you can do, you know, your traditional woodwork will be a little easier. But like I've told you before, Vitaly, I love watching Mr. Chickadee, who does all of his stuff. All of his stuff is hand tools. So yes and no. You know, I like the idea of it is nice. Yeah, but it can make a project like this last a lot longer. Yeah, me too. So I'm working on spruce right now, and the spruce is not from the U.S. So it's probably it has to do with tariffs and taxes. And I've said before, England and Scotland are mostly deforested, so you get your wood from other countries for the most part, and that's been about 1,000 years that England and continental Europe has basically been deforested. Where's my mallet? We didn't fix the sliding door. We replaced it with a regular door. But good question also. We I framed in a regular door instead of using another sliding door. I don't think the sliding door was the right kind of door for this type of building. Yeah, we don't have a hole in the house anymore. That was stressful. We had a plan ahead of time. We could kind of see it coming. I told Heather, I said, if that door slides and it comes out on us, we're gonna frame in a regular door. Yeah, actually, it is. It is actually better insulated with the new door, and we haven't even put insulation in yet. So just the plywood sheathing and the studs and the door the way it is with the new floor, kind of, because I had to redo a bunch of the floor. It was rotted out. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I had to chisel out rotted wood. No snow at the moment. You got snow over there in Ireland? You guys don't get that much snow, right? Yeah, we had a real bad ice storm last week. All the trees coated in ice, you know, that whole deal. So I put stop cuts in here so that when I chisel out, it doesn't go past my line and I don't blow out, you know, beyond the mortise here. Eight to 10 Celsius. Really? You can get 5 inches of snow in Baton Rouge, huh? That's crazy. That is crazy. You will have more snow than I've had in North Carolina for 2 years if you get 5 inches in Baton Rouge. Juanita's out in Cali, so it's probably always nice out there. Wow. I'm surprised and not surprised. The last couple of years, the deep south has gotten like more snow than us a couple of times. A couple of years ago, y'all down there got like a foot of snow in October. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I don't think we got snow that whole winter. Got him. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Wood ship making, one of my interests when it comes to timber framing. How they build ships is crazy. Yeah. I'm going to show y'all a trick to this in a second. And it does involve using a power tool. So you'll see how I use power tools to aid my hand tools usage. Yeah, I agree. All right, so we have this very large mortise that we have to carve out. And so even the old woodworkers would have used a hand drill for this probably. And so what I'm gonna do, take my microphone off for a second, move this over here, over one of my recesses in my bench, because I want to be able to go straight through and not drill into my bench. I don't know if this is too big, this Forstner bit. Somebody wanted to see me use this. Somebody wanted to see me use a Forstner bit, but I still think that this is a little too big for the mortise that I'm cutting, it is too big, I think. So I can't use that. I'm gonna have to use a regular bit here. So to start, we'll use this rusty auger bit. You want to go straight. You want to actually check this. So I was telling my son this the other day. Make sure that when you drill down through a mortise like this, that you're coming down at 90 degrees. If you're not, you could go out of line with this thing and mess your whole project up. So you want to keep it as close to 90 here as possible. I don't use this auger bit very much, so it's kind of nice. I'm going to take a smaller bit, and I'm going to kind of go around the perimeter of this thing and put small holes in there to weaken up the wood in those other areas. Kind of get this guy over. I got a knot right here. Wish y'all had smell-o-vision so you can smell it. Especially when you get close to the edge, you want to really be coming down straight, like straight with this thing. Got enough meat there. I'm gonna put one more hole right here. That helps take care of some of the waste in there. I'll probably go after it with another chisel bit, which I'll do right now. Kind of knock out the whole middle of it. This is a chisel bit. It's going to want to bite in there too. Sometimes when you're doing surgery, you got to bring out the big stuff, so like the doctor's got to. It's a little bit easier that way. Still takes forever. Oh, take care, Gary. Hey, drop some pictures on the you know, of those things like the dock on the that's your homework. Drop some of those pictures of like the Chatham dock on the Discord or something like that. Take care, man. Have a good weekend. Yeah, man, help me out. Smash that button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate everybody being here. Welcome to Dad's Workshop. I'll make you a mod, Vitaly. It'll take a little bit of load off of Heather's shoulders. Numbers getting better. It's nice. I want to take this like needle. That'll help me. I'm probably going to flip it over and drill from the other side too. Typically what I do, because you can. So you flip the thing. Let me get my chisels off the table. So I have my layout marks on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and drill on this side too. If I had more workers and it wasn't just me, I could stay true to the traditional style more. But because I do want to finish this project, I've already been working on this for more than a month. I'm not rushing it, but I do want to work a little more efficiently. trick. I agree, Juanita, with you. I want to bite in that corner. I want to get one hole in each corner. Yeah, I have thought about the next project. The next project I would like to be a small, like a tiny house timber frame kit, and probably should be like the same difficulty level as this. To be honest, it's a high level of difficulty, but it shouldn't be much more than this. That's why I wanted to step up using this bed project. Oh, these chisels are so much sharper. I'm gonna have to get some new sandpaper because I was able to sharpen so much more effectively before. But good question, Natalia. I think the next project is going to be like a little timber frame house. Basically like, kind of like a playhouse size house. But I want it to be able to be something you could actually sleep in. And I want it to be able to be assembled wherever you go. So like a little kit, you know, with the same principles of joinery, you know, the same kind of stuff going on. We haven't cut any braces yet. Corner braces, those are really complicated. Took me a long time to learn how to do that. That's going to be a component of it. So good question, and yeah, I have thought about it, but definitely I'm like going to be ultra focused on this job until this one's done. And once this one's done, I think I'll have it's like a refresher's course in joinery. I'll have the joinery skills warmed up to where I can do a timber framing like again. Not Native American style, like traditional timber framing. So like what you would see with like in traditional American houses. I might even do purlin roofs. Purlin, like here in the U.S. in the colonial times, we were able to build roofs with purlins. Purlins are long. They're not rafters. They're like horizontal rafters, which I really like because they make a roof really strong. So I like purlin roofs. So maybe a little purlin roof, but definitely like I want it to be cute, you know? I want it to look good. Because it's all working up to me and Heather building our own timber frame house eventually. That's the goal. And teaching y'all how to do it too, through the process of it. You can learn from my mistakes and see me stumble over stuff and hopefully grab some, like, you know, pick my brain. I'm a brain picker. I like to learn from other people. You guys are that way too. I built a tiny dollhouse with a purlin roof. It's since been lost, unfortunately. But I enjoyed, like, the idea of doing a different style roof, you know, than a rafter system. Well, I don't know if I would do an A-frame necessarily. The roof is the hardest part, because getting the joinery when you've got a triangle like that is extremely complicated and very little tolerance for mistakes. You know, there's not much room for error. Let's empty some of that waste out. I think on the greenhouse I built, I ended up doing a conventional roof with nail plates, which I would like to not do this time. Just take the time to do the framing. So right now I'm using the micro bevel at the back of the chisel to peel out waste here, because it's sharp and it has this ability to grab, you know, you can do this peel thing with it that you can't do with the front edge of the chisel. It doesn't work to do that. So you take the back bevel if you're trying to clean waste out, and peel it out. Something you learn doing it a bunch. Yeah, I imagine they are on the higher side. Yeah. I knew this person in Minnesota. My parents were considering, when I was little, they were considering making an earth home. There are people in Minnesota like that live in houses that are 90% underground. It saves energy. And it reminds me, A-frame homes are similar. You're using the ground as a structural member, you know. Which is cool. How many of y'all actually work on projects while you watch the live stream? You do that, Vitaly? You just watch and chill? I'm curious if anybody like sits and puts the live stream on and works on a project. Yeah, it is a really good idea. Saves you tons on energy. You know, energy costs are only going to go up. So any way you can be off the grid, collecting your own rainwater, which we do here. We don't drink it or use it for bathing, but we use it for plants. And I use it for, I'm going to be using it for soap making too. We're softly rolling out our Pioneer stuff. Yeah, it's like our homesteading is on a soft rollout. Part of that is being able to build all your own stuff, right? So if you want to be self-sufficient, you got to be able to do your own building, fix your own house, take care of your own stuff like that. You know, I would probably need help with electrical. That's one thing I don't do. Probably could read on it. I'm actually getting through this. Obviously quick because I drilled. Yeah, I understand. When I first started learning woodwork, I'd be up at 2 a.m. working with like an electric planer. I was so appreciative. My neighbors never complained. It was so loud and obnoxious. Each one of my tools had its own loud, obnoxious sound. I think time to flip this thing over. And then like when she comes back, does it look like it's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Like she doesn't know that you did woodwork, or is it still a mess? Yeah, that's the side I want. Yeah, I wondered. Maybe you can build her like a table or something while she's gone. She comes back and she's got like a coffee table, you know, or something. And I can help you with that. Seems like you kind of know what you're doing with that stuff, though. You don't need Calvin to help you with that. But I'm here if you do. We are getting through here. I do have a knot on this side of the mortise, which is making it, going to make it a little bit trickier because the whole knot's going to want to come out. Okay, we're getting there. Oh, you're okay. You don't need to apologize. Happy wife, happy life, right? Though I hear that one way too much. I never left. Well, I never left. Yeah, you would have gotten away with it, Juanita. You just asked to go to the bathroom. Calvin, I need to go to the bathroom, and then you just didn't come back, you know. And then turned out you were on your phone in the bathroom, you know. That's the classroom scenario. Oblivious, Mr. Calvin. She said the happy wife, happy life thing, or that we wouldn't notice you being gone. Yep. If you can push the chisel through it, that's the way to do it. We are so close. So close. I mean, I still have to cut this 3/8 of an inch recess out, but I don't know if I'm going to do that on today's live. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they are our people. They're our people. I don't know. My mom's not going out of her way to watch my live stream. My brother and my sister don't go watch my live stream. Juanita does. You know, uh, uh, Vitali does. Gary does. Occasionally, Haint and Santorian and um, who's our friend here today? Brian does. You know, Brian's here pretty frequently, friend of the show, Brian. So, you know, I mean, it's not like a what have you done for me lately thing, but you know, your people it's like love the one you're with, like that old hippie song. Like sometimes, man, you know, you find that the people that know you the most maybe aren't the ones you would expect. You know, I could go all day about how imperfect I am as a human being and all of the different mistakes I've made in my life, and you guys could probably make some guesses at those, you know. But you guys get the real me on here. This is not a fake me. Now, my sons, I understand. They got stuff to do. They're not responsible for liking me. I'm responsible for liking them. Yeah. So, although my son was on my live stream, he was the first one on there today. So, shout out to D if he's still there. Probably not. He's a busy guy doing all that Fortnite and gorilla playing and all that stuff he does. Vitali, no, because I had been making YouTube videos for like a year, and so I was getting used to the way I looked like on camera and how I sounded. So good question, but no, I mean I'm a little, you know, I get a little stage fright here, but nah, because y'all are my people, so I don't worry about it. Just do my thing and chat with y'all, and that's, you know, the extent of it. I don't try to overdo it. I don't feel like, you know, if I make a mistake on here, I make a mistake, which y'all have seen numerous times, you know. So to a certain extent, I get nervous every time I'm about to get on here because I wanna give you guys value. You know, I want there to be provided value for you. That's important to me. Just getting on here to serve my own purposes is not going to work in my long-term interest anyways. Like if I get on here just to get subscribers and get the likes, man, that's not going to work as a sustainable long-term plan. I have to develop relationships. That's just how it is with almost any business. This just happens to be a weird, fragmented part of the entertainment business, you know. Entertainment is changing. Content is different. And part of content now is live streams. People will realize that soon. I love film. Heather went to film school. So we love good film, you know, cinema and stuff. But we know that that's not necessarily the direction that content is going. Content is going in a much more, I don't know how to describe, how to compare a live with a, you know, scripted content. It's a little different. So what happened? I mean, if you don't mind, I don't want to pry, but if you want to open up and tell us what happened, I certainly wouldn't judge you. Whenever you feel comfortable. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. KC9, the project for today is I'm working on a mortise for a bunk bed, timber frame bunk bed set. Great question. Welcome, KC9. Hope that you will subscribe and join the Discord. We're actually I'm wrapping up this joint for the evening here. This mortise here is going to take a tenon, similar to what you see here. This is the bottom, what do you call these? Tie beams. So that long piece is a tie beam. And then on the end of each tie beam, there are through mortises, and each one has a pin. And so what I'm doing right now is working on one of those vertical posts. Good question. So we are working on another vertical post. Obviously, you've got to have 4 of them. I'm probably going to do 5 or 6 to make sure that there's another post to hold stairs. So there'll be another post, at least on one side. Oh no. There was no exit and the basement was underground. I'm sure it wasn't as bad, but I can relate to that story. It is terrifying. Especially if it's a basement with no exit. Because basically you got to go through the fire to get wherever you're going. I see. Yeah, to make it a bedroom in most states in the United States, in the basement, you have to widen those windows out. Those windows are not big enough to escape for even a normal person. So, like even a person that of a quote, here's my air quotes, of a normal size. So that's not body shaming anyone, but yeah. So if you complete or finish a basement for someone to live in it, it's generally supposed to have a window that you could fit a body through. And like my folks, when they refinished the basement, they had to cut into the masonry of the basement to create a window so that this basement bedroom qualified as an actual bedroom. That's why they don't qualify those as bedrooms, because you can't get out. They are small. They are, 8 to 12 inches in height, and not many people are 8 to 12 inches deep. That doesn't, not just overweight people. That is terrifying, scary. I'm glad you made it through it and that you came back and that we have you here. Divine intervention, somehow, some way. I'm a believer. Yeah. Well, angels, guardian angels, those guys, you know? Hopefully you kept in contact with them. Yeah, I mean, I understand. That's why the people in the trade center jumped, burning and inhaling smoke. It'll make you want to go, like you just do. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Vitaly. Um, True story. When I was married, and I am divorced, but when I was married, my wife went uh, uh, on a trip, and said before she left she was worried. She had a bad feeling. Um, and I made Rice Krispie treats. And the way that I smashed them down to get the top flat was, oh, ouch. Yeah, from the glass, probably, I imagine. But they had to get you out of there. Yeah, my story is nothing near as severe as yours. It was scary, but nothing like yours. So I had made some greasy food on the stove, and I used this big board that I made in my shop as a way to smash down my Rice Krispie treats. And somehow, because there's butter in Rice Krispie treats, the board slipped out of my hand, and it hit the knob on the stove. And because it was heavy, those knobs you have to push them and turn them. But because the board fell on it, it pushed and turned the knob on the back burner that I had the grease on cooling. So I heard the alarms go off in the middle of the night, and I just thought it was bullshit, BS. I just didn't pay it any mind. And then I heard all of the alarms go off. Now, me and all three of my sons are in the basement. So then I start to see smoke come down the basement steps. I go upstairs and the whole stove is on fire. The cabinet is on fire. A container of grease that I had kept is on fire. And there's so much smoke that I'm like, I got my shirt wrapped around my head and I'm trying to put this grease fire out with water. And the whole back of the stove, like the tiles and everything, had melted off. So all of the copper and fake plastic and everything was then burning. And it had fuel from grease. So I'm throwing water on it. The water is like actually splattering burning grease back onto me. And there's so much smoke up there. I'm sure it took years off my life, but I opened every window and every door up there. Luckily, I was able to get the fire out before it got to like flammable stuff. There was fireworks in the closet near there. It would have been a horrific situation. I avoided it narrowly. Luckily, I'm glad I went upstairs. I ignore fire alarms. I used to ignore fire alarms. Now I will never. And I was lucky that in the basement there was an exit. So if the fire did like go down the stairs, the boys and I would have been able to get out. But and unlike your scenario where you were just straight up trapped, which is very scary. It's very important that everybody who lives in a house has an escape plan and knows what may or may not happen in the structure of their house. And that's for intruders, dealing with somebody who might invade your home, because that could happen, and also emergencies like fires. And that really reminded me of that. Like, always have situational awareness. And I'm sorry that you lost your dog. That's devastating. And I'm so glad you're here. We love you, Juanita. We appreciate you. We really do. And those guys rescued a good person. So they did the world a favor. Guys, we're getting about to the end of this. Thank you, Juanita, for sharing that that story, that harrowing tale, and I really mean that. That's like it's an inspiring story, and also it wakes us up to the fact that we always need to be appreciative of what we have, the people and the animals that we have, and also aware of what possible dangers might be near. So hopefully you're nowhere near those fires that are burning right now. Those are scary too, and I'm sure those have scared a lot of people and harmed a lot of people in a devastating and fearful way. So I know you're out that way. So I really hope that you're avoiding that and staying safe there too. Um, yeah, we do appreciate you, Juanita. Here, this is the way that the world is now. Like, family is what you make it. It's it's tricky, man, because I go visit my family, and I really hope they're not on here to hear this, but I go visit my family, and I love them. And I'm not talking about my sons. I'm talking about my folks, aunts and uncles, and stuff like that. I go visit them, and I realize that we are so distant. We have such little understanding of each other. There's such a disconnect. Whatever mistakes I made in my life, they can't get past them. They can't get past them. They can't just love me. And I'm quite sure, Juanita, you've probably experienced that too. And you feel that. You feel favoritism. You feel it when people have those feelings. So, I appreciate you all. You all are like our family. And we're building this family. This is a movement. It's all about positivity, man. It's really easy to be negative in this world. So easy. There's so many fearful, scary, and just terrible things. It's like Vitaly said, we got to be appreciative. So it's hard to do that sometimes. I just put a huge hole in my bench, by the way. That was stupid. But this bench is meant for working. Like these boots are made for walking. So everybody, I really appreciate y'all. I don't know how long I did here, 7:20, so I did a good long time. We do. Yeah. Yeah, this is what we do. We work from here. We make candles. We scratch to make a living, and that's what we do. And we're okay with that. You know, uh, work is, we can get into that another day. Work in and of itself is just a way to pull people away from each other. And, the less you can do of it, the better. I really work to live, don't live to work. Yeah, never keep those gas cans inside. Yeah, yeah, that is that is terrifying. Hopefully, she was able to like claim the fire insurance. I'm sure she did. I'm sure she still does. So it must have had a little gas in it though, enough to get that pilot light, catch the pilot light, and then spread it to somewhere else. I want to give a shout out to Vitali because people are starting to roll out. Juanita, thanks for sharing your story. Um, Shout out to KC9, new person in the chat. Uh, who else we had today? Brian. Shout out to Brian, friend of the show. Um, who else do we have in here today? Richard Grieco, the famous. Shout out to Richard Grieco. And then shout out to my son D, who was the first person in the chat today. But definitely shout out to you, Juanita. Teacher's pet. Yeah, we appreciate it, Vitaly. Yeah, we're here for you, and yeah, we appreciate the prayers. I'm always taking the power of prayer. Believe in it. That's me. Um, yep. So we love you all, appreciate you all, and I'm going to sign off with that tonight. And hopefully you all have a good weekend. I'll be back on Monday. I may do Monday through Friday next week. We may, because of the TikTok dumping, it's probably a good choice to do that to build the community. Love you all. Give someone a hug. See you all on Monday.